Hello and welcome everyone to episode 212 of One Piece at a Time, the One Piece read-through podcast where we read and discuss 5 chapters of the One Piece manga each and every week. I'm your host, Derrick Bittner, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host and freelance letterer, Brandon Bovia. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm, of course, freelance letterer Brandon Bovia, and we have left the manga and we're coming back to the third dimension.
Yes, we're back with the live action, which to some degree was almost a bummer because we're getting into such good stuff in the manga proper. But then you watch this first episode, it's like, no, this is nice. This is really nice.
We have never been more back.
Right? I mean, we didn't get a chance to talk about the trailers on the main podcast too much. We mainly reserved our opinions on that to bonus content and on the Patreon. But we were pretty much positive the entire run. Like, no trailer looked bad. There's a sense of confidence to everything that made it look like, no, this is going to be a good continuation. Like, there's no stumbles here that we can see. And remarkably faithful compared to season 1, which was already pretty faithful, but structure-wise, much more faithful.
Yeah, and that was sort of, if you'll remember our discussion on the first season, I quite liked it, but had, there were some things that I wish that this had made it in, I wish that had made it in, that they had translated sort of the core essence of One Piece while leaving quite a lot of it on the cutting room floor, frankly. But this first episode, it is basically just like front to back Loketown. Like it feels. I mean, if I looked deeper, there probably were like cuts, but it feels like all of the major beats that kind of that compromise that arc is like it's all there. Like it doesn't feel like anything was missing or that they needed to it didn't feel like they're cramming it all in there into an hour. They
had time to just flesh out aspects of Loketown, because the nice thing about Loketown is it's just a 5-chapter set, and so they were able to take those 5 chapters and just expand it for this 1 hour and really get to the core beats, add new elements, we should also mention right off, before we get too far, that we're only just talking about episode 1 of season 2. That's all we've seen so far. It literally just premiered the day we're recording this, and we're going to get it out to everybody as soon as possible. So yeah, we have no idea about the quality of the later episodes. That'll be next episode where we talk about the rest of season 2. But I have a good feeling about this because it's structured better for television. There had to be a lot of adaptational changes for season 1 in order to get it to flow across 8 episodes. This, you're set.
Yeah, pretty much. Like it, and I think the thing to me, as we were kind of talking about it, just kind of talking about the trailers here and there on the Patreon stuff, it's like the thing that stood out to me the most during those trailers was like, oh, this feels way more confident. It feels way the cast and crew feel like they kind of got it down. Like it is no longer oh, this is going to be a weird experiment. Is this crazy thing even going to work? It's like, no, it works. We're just going to double down on all the weird stuff. We're just embracing sort of the content of the manga and using it and expanding on it in really, really interesting ways.
Well, it's the confidence. Honestly, the best form of the confidence to me was the background extras of Loketown.
Yes.
Because
100%.
It just gets across the weirdness. Like, you have some standard looking people, then you have some weird strange hairstyles, people in just odd things, odds and ends. It's all mixed and matched, but it's One Piece. That's how they look.
Yeah. My favorite is the fishmonger that Sanji was talking to, where he just has that weird little fish fin in the back of his head. And I'm sure some of those designs are probably from the manga. And if I looked closer, there might be some characters I recognize. I didn't look too closely, but the fact that I just kind of was like, oh, here's just some random passerby who just has a weird hair for no reason. It just it feels like that's sort of the crew and the costume people and the wig stylists just going screw it, man, just go all in.
And it works. And honestly, especially with Loketown, we'll see how it goes as we continue on, but it felt very theme parkish. And I want to say that in a complimentary status, because Loketown felt very much like what you'd see, we're going to make One Piece land, and this one's based on Loketown. that sort of idea. It very much felt like you were on sets for a lot of these, but I feel like that also increased the charm, and there's a lot of like smart choices in order to keep budget down, and I guess in order to help emphasize later aspects, like having a whole section take place in a circus tent, sort of like the same trick they pulled with Buggy in the in the first season. It works. Like you can see where they're cutting corners, but it's sort of like anime. It's like, okay, I see where they're cutting corners, but there's enough good stuff elsewhere that you don't really mind.
Yeah, and well, I mean, I feel like Logetown feels way more lived in compared to any set we saw from the first season. Like, and I think that that kind of goes back to the just sort of the crazy wigs and costumes and stuff like that. Like it just feels like kind of the biggest locale we had seen in the series up to that point. And I feel like as a result, like it feels way more kind of lively than even my memories of the anime or the manga. It feels like so much more of a distinct setting.
Yeah, and I mean, it just, again, this is a complete Logetown, and again, a lot of the extra stuff they added is so much fun. Whether it's the Baroque works, or it's frickin' Roger, or
the Roger scene,
and this is a big one for manga readers if you've not watched this yet. So just be warned. I'm going to put it out there. Bartolomeo.
Yes.
Bartolomeo starting out here, which greatly cast. Awesome to see a pre-fanboy Bartolomeo, but also set up, this is why he becomes a fanboy.
Yes. And sort of the interactions that he has with Buggy are also great. When I was like, oh, they put Bartolomeo here, I was a little apprehensive. I was like, first off, because when we first showed him, it was like, oh, okay, that's a cute little reference. Bartolomeo's here. And then it's like, oh, no, he's actually quite involved. He has a whole conversation with Nami, and Nami kind of talks down to him in a way that's really great. And, you're sort of seeing his origin point. It might not have a payoff, but like, I think it's just one of those. There are other kind of bits of fan service I'm a little more so on, but I think as time went on, I saw what they were doing with Bartolomeo, and I was like, "It's brilliant."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so much fun, and honestly, kind of works much more than you think. It's sort of like how the same sort of thing with Garp in a lot of ways. It's like it's a little weird to have Garp here so early, but what they're doing with him, how they're using him, no, it kind of works, and I'll put it this way. I'll be shocked if Bartolomeo shows up at all after this.
Yeah. It makes me wonder what they're going to do with him. Is it like, are they just doing this to do it? Or, like is this going to be
a little wink, nod to the fans type of thing?
Yeah. Not to get too ahead of myself. The thing that I was a little more kind of like, okay, was the Sabo reference.
Yeah, I was like, are they already indicating Sabo? Like, that's like, I get it, but it's a little early.
It's bumping up on my line of like, I'm not above having keys jingled in my face, and I feel like the live action does a lot of kind of cool blink and you miss it nods. I love the reference to God Valley.
Yeah,
with
the fact
Roger.
that was something I only just learned about. That's the crazy
yes,
thing
exactly.
I'm like, oh my god! It was like a few chapters ago I heard about God Valley.
Yeah. If this was a couple months earlier, you'd be completely lost, which is so funny. Which makes me kind of like, how far are they going to go?
I couldn't tell you at this point. I mean, there's so many I don't know what happens after Wano, so I couldn't tell you.
That's also true. Yeah, I mean, I guess the fact that this was filmed, presumably like a couple years ago, so maybe that puts sort of a hard limit on the things that they can reference. But even something as God Valley is like, oh, that's not old. That's fairly new information. No.
Honestly, even stuff as little like the great perfect kind of fan service to me. Usopp's wearing a Doiskoi Panda shirt.
Yes. Yep.
I don't know if you caught that.
I did notice that.
And then there's, of course, pandas as part of like winning things. So like the Doiskoi Panda brand festival is very much there.
It's everywhere. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, and speaking of Usopp, I love that scene they added of him talking to Kaya on the phone, or sort of leaving her a recording. Like, I think what I loved most about this arc, this like first episode in general, was sort of like the extra downtime they do give to these character interactions, and so you get stuff like Usopp and Nami hanging out for a bit. The sort of the extra Sanji and Luffy stuff is fun too.
Yeah, I mean, and that was always like one of the big accomplishments of season 1 is how much the crew felt like the Straw Hats. And honestly, they're just showing off at this point. But rather than jump around, should we handle things in a bit more chronological sense for this first episode? Just to have
yeah, sure. Guide. Yeah.
Just to, we got our overall thoughts here.
Sense.
Both, I'd say, really enjoyed it.
It's great.
How do we begin the season? We begin the season with freaking Baroque works, specifically Mr. Five and Miss
Valentine
attacking. Attacking. What's the Axe Hand Morgan? There we go.
So I know
attacking where Axe Hand Morgan was stationed.
Shell's Town, right? Yeah,
Shell's Town. I don't remember the town name, so I was like, wait. I recognize those extras from season 1, and
I'm surprised.
Most of them, except for the guy who I think got his. I went through a little bit of season 1 just to remind myself on certain things. I'm kind of glad I did, because I believe the only surviving member of the Marines was the guy who got his clothes stolen by Nami.
Oh yeah.
Infiltrating. That's the only one. And the girl with him is the girl who caught Nami when she was in the archives trying to find the map, and then discovered the guy with. Yeah. So she's dead. She's dead though, because
completely went over my head.
Live action One Piece continues to have a much higher body count than the manga. Because, well, one, God, did they nail the characters of Five and Valentine? Design wise, just
I would
how they
the
carry
British
themselves.
accent is perfect.
Yeah, it's exactly what you'd expect. What kind of voice you'd expect from a woman who dresses like that? Where you just go like 60s British.
Yes,
it's so well cast. And then to have Nika Robin here, like I obviously.
Yeah. You know.
You've listened to this. If you're at episode 212, you know who.
Yeah, you know. Yeah. That's Robin.
What a standout introduction for Robin, who is so much more brutal. And honestly, I can kind of see her killing Marines after what happened to her.
Oh yeah. That is one of those things where I kind of raised an eyebrow for a little bit, and then I was like, no, that I feel like that, especially for sort of the darker tone the live action goes for. Like it doesn't feel excessive necessarily, but like, and it is it's a cool showcase of her devil fruit power, and I think the way that they translated it in live action just looks stunning. I love the flowers popping in and out. And things like that, and just sort of like it is so much more like, because in like the anime and the manga, it's like, oh yeah, she'll snap your neck and like you're done, but like she is just like, like making people shoot each other.
Yeah, she's like taking their weapons, having them shoot each other, stabbing themselves.
Yeah,
breaks a guy's neck. Like there's one guy shoot him in the face. Like it's pretty horrific, but the use of the flowers to indicate the blood and the carnage of it is so much more interesting than what the anime does, where it's just like a little bit of flower sparkles and there it is. It definitely emphasizes it being the flower fruit. So I am very curious what newcomers are going to think coming into this and seeing Robin's introduction.
Yeah, I feel like that is sort of the cool thing too about sort of this section of the story, right, is like, oh, we are ramping up sort of the frequency of devil fruits, and so I feel like if you're just watching the live action and you have like a sense of it, with Luffy and Buggy and things like that, but it's like this is just like how weird it can get,
Yeah, and the amount of devil fruits for even just this one episode is so much more than what we've had before in season 1, which, makes sense. That's how East Blue was structured. But still, to have, Gum Gum, Chop Chop, Slip Slip, and Flower Flower all here being represented in various ways, all of a sudden it makes sense why you go a little simpler on some of the sets.
Yeah.
Because you have there's a lot of digital effects that need to be done here, but there's also a lot of practical sets and things being done. It's really impressive, and we haven't even gotten to the rest of the Baroque Works powers. But even still, I love that we're given a reason, because right for now it's like, why are they in the East Blue? Why are they attacking this base? And then they bring back Mr. Freaking 7.
Yes. That was that was how it started, right? Like Zoro cut that guy in half.
It was in episode 1. They had Zoro's introduction where Mr. 7 wanted to approach him and bring him into a Baroque Works, and they had a fight, and nope, Zoro took him out and impressively brought back the actor, I think, to be a corpse. Just be there. And he's like, hey, one of our own got cut down by the Zoro. He has joined up with the Straw Hats. Okay, Straw Hats are on our radar, and then just picks up even more. So there's more as it goes on.
It's an interesting change because in the manga, the Baroque Works isn't really on their on the Straw Hats radar until they get involved with Vivi. So now they sort of pushed that forward and are kind of like, okay, going into the Grand Line, they're being chased both by Baroque Works and by Smoker, which I think is really, really interesting. And I can't wait to see how that plays out, knowing that we're going to get to the Vivi stuff and all that. So, and
just to have that moment where Robin walks over to Luffy's poster and sees Monkey D. Luffy, and just that's all it takes. It's like, as a fan, you know, like why she's so intrigued.
Yeah, that's also really interesting too, because I feel like in the manga it was kind of more of a slow build up in the background kind of thing, where and I feel like you really didn't know where her interest in Luffy kind of came from, other than oh, he's funny, he amuses me, but I feel like that it is sort of like just enough to if you know what that means, to go, okay, I know what they're doing here, but I feel like it is the right kind of, we're moving things forward a little bit, and I feel like that is kind of like the smart kind of adaptational change I really like.
Yes, it's something that we mentioned.
It's not in your
season
face.
1.
It's subtle.
Yeah, it's something we mentioned in season 1. It feels almost as if it's One Piece if Oda started writing and knew the entire story that we'd seen up to this point.
Yes,
and sort of making more integrations, because he would make those subtle hints and foreshadowing. We know the man does this. So to have it integrated a little bit sooner works. As you said, though, the Sabo bit just in the background, you don't know
that's my limit, I think, of sort of of Hollywood post credits kind of oh, it's Sabo. I was like, okay, but he's not gonna.
Yeah, Sabo's not gonna do squat for
yeah.
ages.
Yeah. Unless he is, in which case I might come back to this episode and be like, hey, okay. But I mean, I don't see that likely. And honestly, it, well,
here's the thing: do any of us expect? I don't think anybody expects the One Piece live action to cover the entirety of the manga. It's just impossible.
Absolutely not.
Do you? And eventually, it becomes a question: do they stick to this a hybrid of adapting while adding more, but still sticking pretty close, or do they start truncating at some point so they can get ahead and get closer to the end so they can have a complete story? I don't know which way they go, because you follow bit by bit, and they're going to be pushing 40 by the time they get to the end.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh,
and I don't know if I have faith in Netflix allowing this to even reach that far.
I sort of think we might have a better indication of this by the end of the season. I feel like, because there is stuff, that's where we start getting the indication of Blackbeard. That's when we start getting Ace is after a guy, and that is sort of the plot points that eventually lead into Marineford start here. So like I think depending on where and how they tease that, it could be interesting. And that was sort of the one thing I didn't want to jump ahead, but I feel like I feel like it's irrelevant. I am really curious about the dragon of it all, because like you can't not have that scene in Logetown where they have that encounter with the smoker and all of that, and he talks very cryptically and just sort of like f's off for 500 chapters. But it is like in the context of the live action,
it does stand out as, do you leave this one-off character that randomly saves Luffy for God knows how long before you reveal who he actually is?
Yeah.
That's a tough question.
I think people would riot, but I kind of think they could have been justified in cutting it. If they were just going to be like, we're not gonna touch this, we're not gonna get to it. But like the fact that they included it does not signal to me, oh, they're gonna start doing like we're gonna learn about Dragon.
It doesn't feel
in any sort of meaningful way.
It feels like they're gonna keep it closer to their chest than Garp, because Luffy doesn't know who he is.
Yeah. I guess it's just kind of ass comforting. Like we'll keep this in case we need it, but it did strike me as odd. It's like, oh, okay, like if you're watching the live action, like this means nothing to you.
Yeah,
and will mean nothing to you for a very long time, potentially ever.
Yeah, that's true. But then we of course transfer over to the Straw Hats themselves, and God, just from moment one, seeing
that opening scene,
Usopp
is so good,
and Sanji just chatting with each other, it's so natural, it's so fitting. You just love to see these guys interact. And I was wrong looking back through the footage that it was actually Sanji who has a Doskoi Panda apron.
I thought it was Usopp too.
Yeah, I thought it was Usopp, but no, it's a Doskoi Panda apron that Sanji's wearing, which is quite cute.
We both misinterpreted that. Yeah, I love it though. But yeah, I love how that opening scene is kind of like a brick joke in its own way too. Yeah, setting up sort of the pepper and things like that. And I love all of these the original scenes of the Straw Hats. All hanging out with each other, just like new dialogue and new contexts and things like that. It just shows to me how much they get it,
Yeah.
And kind of that impetus of, oh, we kind of need to stop at Logetown, and Usopp trying to convince everybody, maybe we don't want to go, and then drawing the short straw and losing out at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're breaking down everything. Again, the setup for Usopp's pepper, perfect. Like because it's not just a joke for fans. It's set up for how they actually take care of things and integrate them. But also the fact that they're little habits, especially with Sanji, because you have him making this amazing octopus meal for Nami. Mm-hmm. Here's an egg sandwich for you, Usopp. And the great thing is it's an egg sandwich done in the style of Japanese egg sandwiches. Like those perfectly cut squares and whatnot. That's so good.
And it's such a blink and you miss it thing too, right? It's not really like brought attention to. It's just kind of like, this is how the crew interacts with each other, and you just roll with it. And all those little things, kind of add up over time.
And even just a little mention, it's like, I don't taste much pepper in this black pepper octopus.
Yeah.
Just little jokes like that. And then you got the setup for the world. So hey, why can't we just go across here? It's the calm belt. It's getting the information across while still keeping it so natural.
It's still keeping the pace up. You're not getting bogged down in all the exposition and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and I feel like I like how quick it was with that stuff. Just sort of to explain it, for the live action audience who doesn't know what this is, but just kind of boom, bam, done. That's it. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, and it's unique to them, but it's also very much in line with how the characters would act. Like this is a slightly different Nami. This is a slightly different Usopp. This is an Usopp with a little bit more suaveness to him.
Yeah.
I loved the scene between Garp and Roger.
Yeah, utterly wild
addition.
because that. That is a scene ripped straight from Marineford.
Yes, it is.
Just kind of, plus a little God Valley name drop. But it is this. It feels like, especially now that we already have Garp, it's like, yeah, this feels like a good time for it.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like an unnatural addition. And knowing, because I know we have casting for Ace, right?
Yes, we know who's going to be playing Ace, but as far as we can tell, it's only going to be he's not going to show up until season 3.
Okay. I wasn't sure if
maybe we'll get a little hint of him in Drum Island. Who knows?
Yeah, but sort of I feel like if you have not read the manga or watched the anime, you're just as a live action viewer, and you see that conversation of Roger's like, Garp, take care of my son. I know you'll do it because you're a good person. You have no idea to think that otherwise, is he talking about Luffy? Right? Like there's that level of misdirection there that I don't think is present in the manga, because I think by the time of that scene we knew already, right?
Yeah, we knew that,
Roger's
or
son.
we're getting close to Ace, being revealed. But I mean, the other great thing is that it also misdirects you from realizing that Ace is when you meet Ace, you're not going to think, oh, this is Roger's son. Because it's introduced as Luffy's brother, and Roger doesn't say I have sons, so you're not going to think that Ace is his son. It's a great wink and a nod to fans while still keeping it hidden.
And of course, would also lead you no way of knowing that there was Dragon there who's actually Luffy's father.
Yeah.
So the sort of I like that scene between Garp and Roger is sort of. It's serving multiple purposes in a way that I think is really, really clever.
It's also recontextualizing Garp at the beginning of the first season, where he
yes, very much so.
Roger. But now you can say there's a sort of respect. There's a bit of a Garp in the public, Garp to himself, where he has to begrudge the fact that, all right, this man's kind of, I'm okay with him. And then just his reaction to Roger coughing. Again, brilliant use of just little indicators here and there.
Yeah. And I feel like that's another thing, talking about God Valley, like the fact that Roger was, dying of a disease is also fairly recent information as far as this podcast is concerned.
It's also kind of fun to go back to the line, a son shouldn't have to pay for the sins of the father. Especially with us going through Wano and dealing with Orochi.
Yes, with Orochi and dealing with Momonosuke and Oden. It does feel. I feel like that's sort of what I love about. I was about to say all this new stuff, even if this is technically a scene from much later that is from the manga, but it is like sort of rewritten in the style of the of the live action. I like that. The new stuff thematically ends up fitting so well with what the story of the manga is about. There's never a point where they add something or I don't remember in season 1, but certainly not in this first episode of season 2 where I was like, oh, they wouldn't say that, or like that doesn't feel like what the sort of emotionally what the manga is trying to convey, right? Like it feels like it slots in so well.
Yeah, it's just kind of perfect. Again, the Roger Garp scene might be my favorite of the episode.
I am inclined to agree. I think.
Yeah, and God, just getting to Logtown itself and seeing the crew interact, like Luffy ready to wander off and Sanji have to capture him, and them.
Yes,
we get the classic. We've arrived at a new island. Let's split up.
Yes, exactly. Of course, Nami giving everybody a budget. That whole little. That bit with Sanji getting money but Zoro not getting any, and then of course you've got 3 times the interest, which was I forget. I feel like that was later in the manga.
No, I bet she did start charging,
or was it?
She did start charging interest for it, and even the 300% back even though he put all the money, she still charged him. That is straight from the manga. The bits about haggling, though, those are fun extra lines. That's a good bit there. And then also, I don't know. I don't think they split up exactly this way. I think they were in like 5 separate ways in the manga, if I remember.
Yeah, because I do remember us talking about this way back when about like Usopp getting the goggles, right? Like that was sort of like a something that Oda cut for time initially, and I think the anime kind of did their whole own thing with it, and so it stood out to me that like, oh, Usopp is with Nami for this one, and sort of he wants the new goggles so that he wants the disguise because the back of his head is on Luffy's wanted poster.
Yeah, which is so fitting with Usopp and him being like, he's a big strong man to protect Nami. That's sort of thing. He's like, my hero. Just great little moments.
Yeah, I don't think Luffy was with Sanji either.
No, he just went to the execution platform.
Yeah,
didn't bother with anything else. Great, like much earlier than the manga. We've begun seeding Zoro getting lost.
Yes, that is true. That I forgot that and that sort of was the impetus for him meeting up with Tashigi.
Yeah,
and then sort of the way that he's like, I'm not lost,
it's so
kind
good.
of embarrassed about it. Yeah, that's great. Which then that was sort of my initial reaction with that scene was like, oh, Tashigi cast perfectly.
Yes,
she feels, maybe out of all of the characters that we've met in this first episode, like feels like she stepped right out of the manga.
Yes, like, she is.
It's just the vibe just nailed it completely.
The fangirling aspects, the figuring things out, the way the two interact, and there's a lot of subtle things like it's like you look like Quina, which that doesn't put a lot of focus on. It's just you look like Quina. I don't even know if it's the same. Like, well, she was young at the time, so I don't think so.
It wouldn't have been.
Wouldn't be the same actress. How are you feeling about Smoker's casting?
I like it. I actually really like it. And I was actually, I was sort of like, oh man, because when they introduce him, it's not. In the manga, the scene where the little girl spills ice cream on him, like that is first. Whereas that. I was a little bit disappointed, like, oh, we're introducing Smoker with like, oh, here's some pirate, tag him and bag him, and I was like, okay, yeah, that does fit Smoker, but I did really like the ice cream scene, but they kept it in anyway. They just moved it to much later.
Yeah.
And so but I think it is a really crucial aspect of communicating the kind of person that Smoker is.
It very much. So
I'm glad that they kept it.
It's
yeah, because he's not just like a rough and tumble, like yes, he like. He's that guy, he's the tough, hard-boiled cop kind of character, but he has that soft, sympathetic side to him, and good with kids, like both are core aspects to him, and so I'm glad that they did keep it, even if I was like, oh man, at first.
Rearrange it. It almost works. Well, in manga you can do it a lot faster, where he just comes across as gruff. He communicates it a lot more immediately. Here it builds up a little bit. It's just how no nonsense he is, and then he has the classic line, "Oh, it seems my pants ate your ice cream."
Yes, yeah, which I'm also glad they kept that too, and I almost think that moving it is maybe better for maybe that kind of like misdirection, because if you're meeting Smoker for the first time, and the vibe you want to get is like, oh yeah, he's the just he's a real tough guy, real tough cop, and so like. Being introduced that way and then going, oh no, he's actually a really kind person.
Yeah.
I think for the live action audience, it makes a lot of sense.
And then you get that new scene at the end at the bar with him, like where he's explaining why he doesn't want. And I am so impressed. I was just waiting for them to have a flashback to him as a kid, because he was there in season 1 where they see Roger being executed, but they don't have a flashback to show him actually as a kid. It's like, there he is. It just leaves it as a sort of Easter egg for you to catch on rewatch, which great restraint there, honestly.
Yeah.
Very great restraint. And yeah, they got the whole Usopp scene with Bartolomeo sort of checking things out and having that whole stuff. Again, I like. It's a good character piece between Usopp and Nami, which is not just gag. It's Usopp.
Yes.
Have the book that you started with and show that you can make better maps. That's cool.
Yeah, and the way it's like they are encouraging each other, right? Like they have sort of these like insecurities almost, and it like that they use that scene to kind of really establish who they are as characters and sort of reinforce that stuff. And the way that like Usopp saying like he's kind of nervous, and about going into the Grand Line and all that stuff, and that Nami's the one to push him to give Kaya a call. It's just like it's perfect.
It's good. I was almost like,
they understand the characters so well,
so we can actually have a conversation, which would be kind of cool. But no, just a message, which is fine.
Yeah.
I think the other ripped straight out of the manga character, the sword salesman. I forget his name.
Yes. Ooh man, something Matsu.
Yeah. He is played to perfection in this. Yeah. I love his line where he's like, after Tashigi messes up the sale. He's like, oh, I came to get my sword back. Just all hunky dory, and he's like 300. Oh, it was 200 last week. Inflation's a bitch.
Inflation's a bitch.
Yes. Just a perfect way to read.
It sure is, isn't it?
Yep. And they got rid of his wife yelling at him for getting rid of the sword. You just cut that little bit of fat. I was excited that they kept the whole let's test my luck with Zoro type thing, and it still looks cool here.
That's like the key. That's like the key scene, and of course it's talking about the swords of it. I love we're getting introduced to that stuff that'll come up later, with Kitetsu and all that stuff. So it's all, again, it feels like all of the core aspects of Logtown feel like they are just 1-to-1. It feels like they're all here. It just feels like they're just hitting all the right beats. And it was to the point though, while I was watching that episode, I was like, because for a while there's no hide nor hair of Buggy or Alvida. I was like, they're not going to skip that, are they?
Oh, I knew they weren't going to skip that because of the trailers. There's a circus in the middle. I was like, that is true.
Yeah, it made me. I was like, oh, what are they going to do with this? Because there was no indication that they were there at any for God, what feels like half the episode maybe. So I thought it was kind of cool that they actually kind of played it to their chest and kept it as a relative surprise.
Yeah. But again, ripped right out. And then we got the whole the fish from the South Blue with Sanji and Luffy. Again, a scene that's in the manga, but recontextualized by having Luffy this time. And once again, showing the family aspect of the crew with him encouraging him. It's like, with Sanji looking at the bad part, it's like, oh, he ripped off my menu because he learns that Zeph and the Baratier ordered all the fish, which is great world building and contextualization. And, it's like, oh, he ripped me off and all that stuff. It's like, put it on his menu. And then Luffy says, well, he liked your meal. He appreciated it.
Yeah,
he likes your ideas.
Yeah. And that goes back to just sort of how they show how they express love at the Baratier. It's sort of a very kind of harsh and cold way of showing your appreciation.
Very much so. It's very cute, and just again the way he protects this fish. And again, I missed the fish fin on the guy that sells it. That's so good.
Which again, it's those goofy little One Piece things. this character who will never show up again. He's just another weird little guy in a world of weird little guys.
Yeah. We already talked about the Bartolomeo scene with Nami. Of course, I love that she's explaining find an easy mark, look for a guy that's lost, and then
giving him advice.
Yes. Give him advice.
I knew that's where that was going to go, but I loved it.
It's so perfect.
And also the idea that Bartolomeo is sort of like a small time crime boss in Logtown. I think that is in the manga. I don't remember if it was Logtown.
I don't know if it's Logtown. I don't think it was Logtown.
It was just some kind of backwater town or whatever.
He just seems to keep imagining it, but he seems to be less than a crime boss here. He puffs himself up to be a crime boss.
Yeah.
But he's like, oh, I'm the big guy on campus, and then it's like they point out the Buggy,
and
he's like,
yeah.
Which is perfect because. I like the idea that he might build himself up to that sort of thing, building the fan base for Luffy as he does these incredible things, and then of course get the force field fruit.
Yeah, and in the same way that for all of the big name characters who were there for Roger's execution, and that they all kind of gained something through Roger and through his the way that he laughed in the face of death and all that fun stuff. There's very much the parallel with that with Luffy, and you see the way that Bartolomeo reacts to that, and I think that is sort of the moment where he kind of gains his respect.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to go from there. So I like that they kind of are adding that extra parallel between Luffy and Roger there.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, time for Buggy. And you can just tell that they love Buggy. they are letting this actor Buggy. Hamming it up, and he does such a good job.
Yes. He's so good. I remember in the first season, I was kind of apprehensive about the sort of shift in characterization a little bit. He's a little darker, a little more threatening, a little more Joker-esque. In this he's
starting to settle into his much more comedic aspects, where he just
very
like
much so.
It helps that Luffy's not taking him serious at all.
yeah. He calls him buddy.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, no, that's what I said. I called you. Yeah. It's. I love
the subtle joke was like, Alvida, you better once. How do you know her name?
Yes,
that's so good.
Yes. It's such a good inverting your expectations too, because you would think, oh yeah, Luffy wouldn't remember. It's like, oh no, he remembers perfectly. Alvida, yeah.
Speaking of Alvida, handled perfectly casting wise. I was wondering because they did not show her in trailers. Like you got you knew where she was, but you didn't see her to see the transformation. And I like how they embodied the slip fruit for her, where she is thinned down. I'm curious whether she started she was that size in season 1, or they put padding on her to this is what she actually is.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, but it's also like she still kind of got that roundness to her. She's not a traditional bombshell Oda woman.
She's definitely not like bam, like different actress doing I'm actually I'm sexy now rather than just this bigger woman. It works really well. And I love that. I'm trying to figure out if it was just a gag or an actual implication that she and Buggy might be an item, or if that's just how Buggy sees it, and she's like, oh, shut up. It really feels more like the latter, but it'd be really funny if they actually did shack up.
Be really, if they committed to that bit. I think that would be so good.
And this Alvida does so much more in this 10 minutes of screen time for this episode than she does in the entirety of the manga so far, where she's just sort of support.
She gets a whole fight to herself.
Yeah.
And not only that, Usopp and Nami get to team up to fight Alvida, which is it's brilliant. It's like one of my. I love that addition so much. And
shows subtly how the Straw Hats cover for each other's weaknesses. Because Luffy tries to just straight up punch her. It doesn't work. He just slips right off. Great visualization of the slip fruit, much more than we ever saw in the manga. And then Nami tries to fight her by herself, slips off, doesn't work. And then finally the team up with Usopp with the pepper, bringing that back to finish her off and taking advantage of the slip fruit. Brilliant. Really.
Yeah, to knock her into a bunch of pandas. It's good slapstick. It's great. The sort of the ideas they have for these action scenes, they feel like they are, again, true to the spirit of the manga, but entirely new.
Yeah. And honestly, they might be my favorite of the fight scenes in this episode, because if there's one weakness for the season, at least that it's continuing to have, at least the fight scenes are just okay.
I think I would largely agree. There are a couple of bits where I was like, oh, okay, that was pretty cool, but I think not. I feel like not what I'm here for. Yeah. So I'm kind of okay with it.
Exactly, and it's almost One Piece itself. I've seen people be like, the fight scenes on One Piece aren't that great when you compare it to other things or other shonens out there. But everything else about One Piece is so good, you kind of don't care.
Yeah, you don't. It doesn't. Yeah, they get the job done, and I think that sounds almost like damning with faint praise, but I really do mean that they get the job done. They're fun to watch. They're not confusing or anything like that, which so
they're shot very well. Hollywood. They're very you're never they're not trying to cover up the action with quick cuts or anything like that. No, you're going to see
and then
Sanji do his kicks and Zoro and him being back to back and helping each other, trying to get to the execution platform and so forth.
Yeah, actually getting to see the actors move, and I feel like that is sort of like the live action's emphasis on like practical sets is so good for that reason. And I feel like you without a practical Rogue Town or whatever, you wouldn't have Alvida, flying into a bunch of pandas, right? Like you wouldn't have sort of these action scenes taking place in real life lived in spaces.
Yeah, and it does the job. It works. Like it's again smart that you can have maybe potentially a separate set by having it just be, yes, it's Rogue Town, but it's circus themed here. So we have this more enclosed like area that we can sort of
more enclosed space.
Yeah, we can more properly set up the action scenes. It's very smart use of your budget is what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
Especially because we get other standout moments where Smoker's a threat. Like them visualizing Smoker's power, excellent.
It looks so good. It looks
legit,
amazing.
Like, it is. Yeah. It's probably the best looking devil fruit power we've seen so far.
Yeah. The way that the smoke plumes, just it feels. It's that right mix of like kind of stylized, but still fairly realistic. The way that Luffy just kind of like flies right through him, but and the way that like in that sort of like I was surprised, like, they kind of let Sanji in on the action too during that fight scene, in a way that would really surprise me. Yeah,
it was neat to have him very, very much be there. Like he always kind of was more like Sanji. Sanji, didn't we find him very supportive of Luffy as time went on? Like it was too soon to pair up, and he was like really dead set on Luffy for a long time. And I think that's sort of emphasizing that as well here. It's a good enough fight scene, but everything surrounding it, like the freaking trial. Like I love how they took the idea of Buggy saying in the manga, "This is the trial of Monkey D. Luffy for upsetting me," and then there's like, let's make a trial. Let's make an actual trial for this. Where he gets to be
a terrible lawyer.
You're a terrible lawyer. Which also works because it gets the introduction of the Sea Prism Stone.
Yeah, that's right. Because in the manga it was Smoker, right? Which like
Smoker didn't use his thing. He was going to, but he didn't. We didn't see him use it at all, which is very interesting that they didn't establish that.
Yeah, Actually, the more I think about it, the more I really like that change, because I think Smoker saying it, and like I don't know, I don't know if you needed exposition of that kind of sort in such a like serious scene. I kind of like that they explained it earlier, so that like when Smoker does it, like you're not worried about the
all he has to do is like, what the Sea Prism Stone?
Yeah.
Oh, they're like, oh, okay, that's how it works.
Yeah.
It's good efficient storytelling, and you got Buggy's crew still being a bunch of freaks. I love that they take it's Moji and Kabaji. I know Kabaji's one of them. I forget the other one.
Yeah, I don't remember which is which, but
the two, and you have him still having that grudge match with Zoro, which. He's so below Zoro. Meanwhile, I think Kabaji the Lion Tamer is still just hanging out. And they gave him his ears. They gave him his ears from this book when he gets reintroduced, which is really funny. Even though he does nothing, he is just a background character meant to look like him, and yet they put that detail. And then, of course, the whole fight breaks out. Nami getting to be so active in the fights. Love it.
Yes, I feel like that was also kind of a highlight of the first season too, which I guess like it felt true to the spirit of the manga in the moment, I feel like, but definitely I think is a little bit more of a highlight here.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. What do you think about the lightning coming down?
Looked a little cheesy.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Not my favorite VFX.
Yeah, it didn't have the same impact as the manga or the anime, where it just seems like this straight down burst. And instead,
I think the thing for me is that the build up doesn't feel quite as clean.
No,
because like Nami says like, "Oh, there's a storm coming," and that's sort of your indication. But like, I feel like in the manga, like it was already raining up to that point.
Yeah.
Maybe?
It was like really building up, getting close. You didn't get a sense of the storm coming at this point because it was dark and whatnot. You didn't get a sense. And the great thing about the original and the animated versions is that Buggy is bringing the sword down, and here he only gets like a small motion before he's struck by the lightning. Really should have been closer to Luffy's neck, I feel.
I didn't even think about that.
Gets
yeah.
Gets struck by
it is
lightning.
one of those things that it was maybe the thing that I most felt like was like, that was a little weird.
Yeah.
It didn't come across quite how maybe it was intended to. But like, it's fine. Again, I still kind of have that like, if conspiracy theory, if that lightning bolt was actually Dragon who can control the weather, I feel like for the live action folks, like that is just going to feel like and it is a Deus Ex Machina, but like I feel like it is part of something that I feel like will get paid off in the manga at some point eventually, and I don't think there will be any payoff for the live action folks.
I do love Luffy's reaction coming down from the pillar. I was lucky. just completely, which also helps build him up in Bartolomeo's mind.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, for Bartolomeo, it was an act of God.
Yeah, and again, a good use of restraint here, where Luffy, like Usopp says, "You were struck by lightning," and Luffy just brushes it off. He doesn't say rubber or anything like that. So they can leave that same. If we get to an Eru, we can have that reveal and have the surprise from him, where people don't think. So I like how they're playing cards, but not full. Like they're holding just enough back.
They're holding some stuff back. Yeah, exactly. Which is why, and we talked about that earlier, but that's why the Sabo thing, I'm just kind of...
the Sabo thing doesn't feel like anything.
There are moments where they do show restraint, and I think that's good. And there's moments where they play things a little early in a way that aids the storytelling, and so that like... I can see where they're coming from with a lot of the stuff, but yeah, the Sabo thing, it stands out to me so much as like, calm down. You get into, sit down before you fall down.
Oh my gosh! So, you want to see something? I was moving on to our next section that we were going to cover. From basically Tashigi versus Zoro, and get our thoughts on that.
Oh yeah.
I've just been, rather than letting it play, I've been pausing just to like have a scene focus. I stopped on a sequence during that fight where you get a new wanted poster behind Zoro. Guess who it is?
Oh, who is it? Ooh.
You're not going to. I'll say it right now. You're not going to guess. It's Pedro.
Okay. Pedro.
Okay. They have Pedro, a mink, indicated already. Where you got this. That is absolutely for the Easter egg hunters.
Yeah. That's the kind of fan service I'm more than happy with. Like that, I think that's cool.
Yeah, wanted posters work really well for that kind of fan service.
Yeah, because you could just put them wherever. Yeah, it will work seamlessly for pretty much whoever character they want to put in.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it.
That's so good. It's amazing how much post time skip stuff they're hinting at in this season already.
Yeah, it really, like you said, it really does feel like a version of the story with the power of hindsight, with the power of taking sort of a broad view of things.
Yeah. Tashigi versus Zoro, lots of fun. I think that's a good standout, like low key battle. I think that these one-on-ones kind of work better, and you can see how. I don't know, just the way, again, Zoro's style's on her, but...
Yeah. Like, it's clear that he's not taking it seriously at all at this point, and I like it because it's good setup for Tashigi and Alabasta, I think.
Yeah,
this
especially...
is sort of the kickoff for her.
Especially with the addition of the Robin scene with Tashigi. That, I did not... Like, that was, again, completely brand new scene... adding things in, sort of built, like pushing her, and then offering her for Baroque's works. It's like, that is very interesting what they're. I'm curious if that's going to blossom into anything as time goes on.
Yeah. The thing I'm curious about is because like Crocodile is a warlord, right? So like the government, the Marines know who he is. So like, would they not know who? I guess Baroque Works is a very secretive company. So maybe
that was the whole thing, is that Vivi had to go undercover in order to find out who the heck was the leader of the Baroque Works. It was a big deal that she discovered it was Crocodile. So nobody knows.
I feel like I wonder how much they're going to play into this interplay in the season between the Straw Hats, Baroque Works, and the Smoker and Tashigi of it all, because it feels like they are setting it up for kind of this sort of 3-layered, they're all they're both going after the Straw Hats, but are kind of at odds with each other, but also technically they are warlords, so like they are kind of government. Whatever they do is kind of all kosher by the government standards. So like there's this push and pull here between these three sides that I don't know if they're going to really lean into, but I kind of hope that they do. If that is to be our like B plot for the season.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. It's because you can see Smoker effectively being the new Garp for this season.
Yeah. And I feel like that's what he was always meant to be. And I feel like he is the right character to start having these, I'll say doubts. Sure. I'll go with doubts as like, his role in the Marines versus the role of the warlords and sort of the like kind of the atrocities that they get away with, on government dime. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's sort of where Smoker ends up at the end of Alabasta. And I think if we see more of that kind of build up over the course of the next 2 seasons, I think that could be really, really cool.
I agree, especially just because of, again, he gives his reasoning at the bar for like, I don't want kids to have to grow up in this chaos.
Yeah, that's
good motivation.
Rock solid characterization for Smoker.
Yeah, it's honestly more characterization
really,
you
really
get
cool.
for him otherwise, because he just like he's one of the few that saw the execution of Roger and was like not inspired to be a pirate, but instead stop pirates.
Like, I gotta stop this.
And
yeah.
The reason why is that reason? Well, he grew up in a very chaotic time, and he does not want that for any other kids.
It's completely understandable, and like that's the kind of thinking I really hope I see from like the rest of the season of like kind of even just like nodding to or nudging at like, this is why this character feels this way at a specific point in time.
Yeah.
In a way that like the manga never really like, Smoker never really talked about his feelings in that way in the original material. Other than like the end of Alabasta was the closest he really got to that. But it like kind of really taking what's there from the source material and like extrapolating based on things that have already been established. Like I am such a sucker for it, and I cannot wait to like see how they keep doing that with other characters.
I think that's the secret sauce of live action One Piece is they understand these characters. They know how to pull a little bit more out from the characters that make them work. They know what to, for the most part, what to keep, what to get rid of, where to streamline. It's just, it does feel like so much care is being put into this that we've just, again, we mentioned it when we talked about season 1. One Piece should be the hardest freaking anime/manga to adapt into live action. Why does it feel like the most successful since Battle Angel Alita?
Yeah. I do feel like it is kind of this focus on characters and characterization, and that has always been the core of One Piece, even in the source material, right? And I feel like that is sort of the difference between, like this and even, say, Tomorrow Studios also did the Bebop live action, which like nobody felt right in that. And, they just announced they're doing Samurai Champloo with in collaboration with the original director, Shinichiro Watanabe.
Oh, I missed that.
So that makes me wonder, like, will the characterization, will the focus on kind of understanding the material, will that kind of help push them toward? I hope One Piece is sort of like they understand what to do now.
Yeah, they sort of confined the people, and Shampoo is honestly a good choice for a live action adaptation because it's so episodic. There's enough of a through line through the episodes that you can keep it going to that end. But that is a easy 1 season show.
Yeah,
that you just nail. You can just nail. I think that makes.
Yeah, the only thing I'm worried about is the music since Nujabes is no longer with us. But if Watanabe's involved, he'll get somebody who's a good fit for it. I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think we'll find something good there. Otherwise, what do you think of the casting of Dragon? There's not a whole lot to pull out from Dragon, but I don't know about you. Yeah. I got Native American vibe. I don't know if that's his actor or not, but he felt so. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but so Native American coded with his demeanor.
I could feel that. Yeah, I really. And I feel like the way that line that he said to Smoker, which I think was from the manga, where he said like the world is waiting for our answer. I feel like there's something there with that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I guess like neutral leaning positive. It was more of a that's not how I thought he was going to kind of come off and how he was going to sound. But I think I liked it. It's. Unless they add more of them, I'm kind of like, all right,
it's just enough I can see somebody build off of this, That's really all you can say.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the dragon stuff is like the biggest question mark for me right now. I keep going back to it because it is just like it's such a non sequitur. If like. Even in the manga, it's something that doesn't really get brought up again for like another 300 chapters.
Yeah.
So it is just one of those things that the decision to keep it in, I understand, just in case, but it is like, this is one of those weird things. If you've only watched live action show, you're like, what is that? And you will potentially never know the answer. I wonder if they're going to add more dragon or if they're just going to like, we did it because we had to. I'm just going to leave it at that.
It's hard to say, but I mean, I think this is an excellent premiere. It covers everything very well. I only have the most minor of complaints. And that mostly falls into the action category. So minor and like who cares?
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things. Yeah.
We'll see if it gets better as the season goes on. Because there are some interesting fights that happen this season, so we'll see how that happens. Zoro versus at Whiskey Peak, that's going to be a big one because that's like one of the best action scenes in One Piece
in the manga. Yeah, for sure.
We'll see if they can pull it off. From the trailer, I think it's going to be limited to a bar fight, but we'll see how that goes. If it needs to spill out to the city itself, but we'll find out.
Yeah, I feel like just from this first episode alone, I feel like this is gonna be way better than the first season. Yeah. Like I feel way more confident. I feel like they just get it now, and I say that I liked the first season quite a bit, but I really think that like they're just gonna go above and beyond. That is sort of the vibe I'm getting from this first episode. So I hope they can keep up the quality. I'm ready to see what they do with it. I'm on board. I'm on board.
And from everything from what I've seen, the limited amount of online discourse around this seems genuinely positive. I'm not seeing a lot of complaints. People are just like, yes, cast have nailed it. My God, how are they pulling this off? And they've watched further than what we have. So, but I am so curious what they add, what's going to be different. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see. I'm looking forward to watching the rest of the season. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think our discussion next week is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, really interesting and definitely a lot longer because we'll have
got a lot of ground to cover.
7 episodes to cover. We'll be probably a little bit more all over the place in terms of that. We'll probably go episode to episode like we did before, covering all that. But we wanted to get our thoughts out there just right out the gate. How we're. I think it's a good. Now then type thing where it's like, here's how we're feeling at the beginning, here's how we're feeling at the end, and
very much so. Yeah,
covers all that. It definitely feels like, if we really wanted to, we could squeeze out an episode, a discussion an episode or every 2 episodes for this. But
we got to get back to the manga, though.
we want to get back to the manga, even though we probably could use the time to, delay a little bit so Oda can get a little farther ahead. But it's fine. It's fine. But I'm looking forward to the rest. Our schedule is going to be a little wonky for getting back to it because we're going to get this up ASAP. Same for the next one after we record next week after we watch everything, and then it'll be back to the normal schedule. So you're getting episodes put together really closely these next 2 weeks, and then they have a little bit longer of a wait as we get back to the normal release schedule for when we get back to the manga.
Yeah.
So
and that should hopefully be it for all the shenanigans. Well, after that, it's just straight through to the rest of Wano.
Crazy. Yeah. I am so curious how far they'll get.
Me too.
Because it I want season 4 to be Skypiea. I don't want to skip Skypiea.
Yeah.
We need to have Skypiea.
Right. Yeah. It's like that. What Nami had said at the beginning of the first episode. You thought we were gonna skip Logtown.
So good. Great little bit of meta commentary there.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Fantastic.
Oh goodness. But I think that's all I have to say about this first episode. So yeah, thank you so much. With all that said, I believe we said all we wanted to say about episode 1 of season 2 of One Piece live action. Thank you so much for listening, and you can find more of my ramblings and stream VODs over at BitNerd Games on YouTube or simply BitNerd on BlueSky. And Brandon, where can everyone find you at?
I am Brandon Bovia on BlueSky, talking about anime, manga, games, and my job. And did you know that Seto Kaiba inherited his business from a military contractor and turned it into a gaming company?
That's
for some reason, for no reason at all, that was on my mind. That's where I'll leave off.
Isn't that interesting? Yu-Gi-Oh is going to be very. We've said it multiple times, but it'll be very interesting to get the Yu-Gi-Oh after One Piece is finished. Who knows when that's going to finish?
It was a panel that I had seen a couple of days ago, and I was like, I completely forgot that was in the manga.
So good. So yeah. If you'd like to help us out more, you can support the podcast over at patreon.com/Derrick Bittner. That's DerrickBitner to listen to the next episode ad-free 3 days early, as well as patron-exclusive bonus episodes. And make sure to return next time as we discuss the rest of season 2 of the live-action One Piece. So until then, my friends, bye.
Remember to take life one piece at a time.
Hello, Matsu.
Tashigi, my favorite customer.
I'm here to pick up Shigure.
Right, your sword, I'll go get it. 300 berry, please.
It was only 200 last week.
Inflation's a bitch, ain't it?